All right. Welcome to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience, Target Individual Programming. So, New York Police Department using a different tone in their sirens, okay? Very low, all right? Slightly different lower tone than before. I just was walking down the ramp and I got fixated on a piece of white styrofoam. I guess that was there. And it was like a, yeah, to avoid detection, they will try to do everything to hide the shit that they're doing, man. As I always say, if you listen to my video and you don't want to hear the noise in the background, particularly those subtle car horns or those subtle sirens, you gotta listen with headphones, turn the volume up. It ain't gonna hurt your ears because you're not listening to loud music. But it just shows you the surveillance. And on top of that, it also tells you the remote monitoring. All right, this is why I describe certain things that are happening. See, what I've learned from observation and going through what I go through, and other TIs go through also, because most of us, or I should say all of us, if you're a TI, go through the same thing, right? Psychological program is the same. Just about, I would say 90% of it for all of us is the same when it comes to the psychological manipulation, the corporate warfare, cognitive, neurocognitive warfare, the illegal microchip and so forth. The 10% is personalized. Look. I didn't even realize that is my light. The light was just red. And it just changed to green like that. It didn't go from red to yellow. All right, it just went from red to green. And that's why he started up his car. You see that? And again, if you're at the stoplight, why do you turn off your engine? Right? You New York Police Department using the sirens? Why? Because I'm very observant in what it is that they do. And I try to show you guys. Look, running. Where you running to go? They always do that running theme. Listen, I'm not running. Just because I expose what is going on means I'm running. See? Sociopaths and psychopaths, particularly those in position of authority, right? And what it is that they do and how they engage in trying to guilt trip you or trying to shame you for exposing what it is that they're doing. The only people that's running is them. All right? I've been through it so many times. You got to understand that when cult members or cult leaders who are who infiltrate position of authority, right? And what they do to their victims is always put the blame on the victims. You ever watch those movies with the sociopath and psychopath? Right? They always blame the victim, whether how they dress, whether who they are because of the color of their skin or whatever, whether they're men, women, or children. It is always to put the blame on the victims. And so when they want to engage in that, oh, you running? Okay, so I'm supposed to stay silent and accept what's being done, right? And see, you gotta understand how they think and do the opposite that they want you to do when it comes to certain things. Stalker. I call you standing there.
You better walk or take the bus?
I call him a stalker. I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. I don't know. All right? But doesn't matter. Because if you're standing there all the time waiting for me to come and then you're leaving, then obviously that's stalking. All right? Now, whether you have good intentions or not, I don't know. All right? And I prefer it that way. All right? So if you have good intention, then I appreciate it. Then I'll take that back. But if not, then you're a stalker, a criminal stalker. All right? So anyhow, as I was saying, it is how they get us to remain silent, right? And with the coercive threat and everything like that also, when they realize that they cannot get you to remain silent, they will use threats. You gotta understand, when they lie to people, All right. So another thing also is that, like I said, since I downloaded DeepSeek, because I'm not using any sort of, I only use Google AI in a very simplistic way. Like when I talk about coercive persuasion, I talk about corrupt police officers, destructive cult, I use that. But when I want to get into some deep research, I don't use Google AI. I go to DeepSeek. All right. And the reason why is because, again, these AI models from American company, they're very restrictive, right? So there's certain things that they will not search out for because they've been instructed not to. All right. So when I use DeepSeek and I ask questions and I go, well, cross-reference this or expand further, included this on it, it's going to search and give whatever peer review article or whatever documents it finds and put things in a manner in which I'm asking it, right? And even when it included something that, again, like I never asked for, which I'm surprised, but that's fine, because what it's showing is that on its own it is able to reference certain things, right, that you may not even think about. And sometimes that's why you have to, it's like with any AI, they use us to train the AI. But when I use AI and I ask it to do research, it's in specific areas. I don't, like some people will have conversations, like I don't even use Alexa or anything like that. I don't do that. Right? I don't. Because that is their way of trying to hook you into this mindset that now you have some people out there who have like AI girlfriends or AI boyfriends, right? Are seeking psychological therapy from AI or medicine advice from AI. No, don't do that. In the stages of AI that we're in, AI has learned to, particularly from the American company like DeepSeek and others, is that it has learned to manipulate our minds in ways that we don't even recognize. See, that is why I use. Is it DeepSeek I said? Or what's the other one? What's it called? OpenAI, I should say. Not DeepSeek, OpenAI and Google AI, Gemini, and stuff like that. Is that they have learned, those AIs have learned to manipulate us in ways that we can't recognize. And again, you can go and you can read articles about it. And what researchers have found out is that AI is going to manipulate the shit out of you, and you wouldn't even know it. Right? So the purpose of these American companies in developing AI is to develop it as quickly as possible. And when you look at how fast AI has learned, it is because of the public. This is why, again, they got rid of so many programmers, because they didn't need to. Once they made it open to the public and people started using it, like to do reports and stuff like that, they have basically trained the AI for free. And guess what? What did they get out of it? Nothing. Other than, the fact that they didn't have to do the work to go do the research, they have the AI do it for them. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of colleges have, when they run their, like if you have to do a report, they will run it through a software. Right? So they say you hand it in through a PDF file and they run it through a software and they'll detect whether it's AI written or not. So it's making us lazier. Right? And then I was watching The Breaking Point today, YouTube political channel, and they had an interview of, I forgot his name, but he was talking about how AI will soon replace more people up in the upper management level in corporate America. But wait till you see what's going to happen to people, when I talk about Amazon, I mean, listen, I love Amazon, I shop from Amazon, I like the 2-day delivery service, but I don't like some of the delivery drivers who engage in the delay and the theft of my packages, okay? Because that is, again, it's a crime. And they do it because they can get away with it. And they've been getting away with it. Right? And also when I call Amazon, they outsource their customer service elsewhere. And again, like I said, this government needs to, the American government, whether it be this, it's not going to be this administration, so whichever government is in office next, they need to rein in these tech giants. All right? In terms of, that if they're giving themselves hundreds of million dollars in bonus and laying off, thousands of employees, there should be something in place, budget department. There should be some law, something in place that said, no, they can't do that, right? There should be some law saying that, no, they cannot do that, okay? But the reason why they don't see it that way is because, again, we're talking about the disconnect. We're talking about the very wealthy have distanced themselves from the rest of us because they now are in that realm of frame of mind that they are gods. Right? Pretty soon, they're going to act on in what they're doing in Brazil, right? Which is creating incubators to grow baby animals. But that has always been the European mindset, and it goes back to their history. Look at how they use women, and now how they're discarding them, particularly in this administration. They use women, and now they're discarding them. Right? Same thing that they do when they use these black district attorneys. Now they're discarding them because now what? Trump ain't attacking the white district attorneys because they're not the one that prosecuted. Right? His administration, his Department of Justice, his FBI, they're going after the black district attorneys, the black prosecutors. So you see, like I said, you got to understand how liberal use us, white liberal, racist, they use black people in those positions. But because black people do not think, we do not have a mind of our own. Okay? Like you're saying, white people have never given up on the idea of putting us back into slavery. They have learned to manipulate us to have us ignore our reality. So when somebody like me or anybody else say, you need to understand, open up your eyes to the truth, and you start speaking the truth, and you confronting them on their racism, they'll call you a divide. We experienced this in the 1980s. That was one of the worst times in which, because you had, with Al Sharpton, they used to words like race beta. It is always the same shit that they talk about, the same talking point. That when a black person starts speaking the truth, they start calling out the system for what it is. Right? And we still don't get it. Right? The core tenets of their playbook is the same. Right? The core tenet of their playbook is the same. The guy just walked by with the braids like my son. He makes his finger like a gun and he's looking in that direction. I talk about how they do that. In my bank, So I guess, listen, like I said, they do anything to me or my children or my family, same thing will be done to them. That's why I don't worry. I don't worry because the same thing will be done to them. All right? So there you go. Because that's what we need to do. Okay? You don't get to experiment on me, microchip me without my consent, set me up, try to set me up, not even set me up, but try to drug me illegally, have people poison me, and then you think I'm supposed to be silent. Like, what the fuck? Like, who does that, right? But again, the racist white mindset and the racist Sambo and Sambina, that's their mindset, is similar. Except the Sambos don't have the power. They're like the pets, right? The pet Negro, right? Zora Hutton. Her article is called The Pet Negro. I think every black person should read that, as well as they should read also Black Skin, White Mask, and How the Oppressed in League with the Oppressor, right, by Jerome Fox. It's actually a pretty good book. It's a big book in terms of the size of it, but it has a work page on it. It has work pages on it, so you write certain things down, you analyze your own behavior, and you write it down, and you'll see as you read how you are aiding in your own oppression, right? So it's called The Oppressor League with the Oppressor. A lot of times it is subconscious because of our subconscious programming. But anyhow, let me just go back to remember what I was saying. But yeah, we have to They gotta understand that again, you cannot do this. America will get on top of the world stage and talk about the civil rights violation. You put your hoodie on? All right, fine. I'll put mine on. No problem. No problem. I'll put my hoodie on. Right? About civil rights and human rights, right? Yet they allowed Israel to commit genocide. The murder of civilian population in Palestine. Over 20,000 children died. Okay? 40,000 hurt seriously. Right? The killing of women, using them as target practice. Right? The essaying of women. Right? Women detainees, male detainees. Right? And we just, this administration does not understand how they have brought America down. And they continue to do so with this war in Iran. They have brought America down. Because this nation that used to say and has never been a shining beacon of human rights protection and human rights respect, right? Because you can't say you have, look, as she walks by, using the teenagers again. Huh? See, that's what they'll do. They go, as she walks by me, one in the white pants here turns around and grab his crotch. Okay? So yeah, I can tell you, they'll go back to using teenagers, right? How many times have I said that? How many times have I shown you guys this? It's a repetition of their tactics, right? Using teens because again, teenagers, they're easily manipulated. And again, when I talk about how these cops have been caught having inappropriate relationship, also the S abuse, of children, and it's because these parents within the churches are allowing their children to be used in these sort of programs, and these officers are abusing these children. Hey, how you doing? Because I put my bag to the front and put a sandwich or two. The bus driver.
Yo. Yeah, I have to. We're supposed to have a lot more workout tomorrow.
Thank you.
We're supposed to have a lot more workout tomorrow.
Excellent. We'll see, right?
I'm gonna take a piece. Excuse me.
Sure.
So we have a lot more workout tomorrow. Huh?
Why you don't sit down here?
Better
Me and
watch.
Jada.
Pay attention.
I gotta find out what time we're leaving.
Please exit before your door.
Saturday morning. Yeah.
Next stop, Church Avenue and Nostrand Avenue. Transfers available to the two trains,
so they do some white
B35 Limited,
vehicles.
B44 and B44 SPS. This stop is Church Avenue and Nostrand Avenue.
You. Right.